Okay, ready? All right, enough. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. My name is Micah Norris.
I am Ross Zabo, aka Mr. Zabo, and welcome to the All Feelings Considered podcast.
Episode 1, part 2, because we had to redo this episode.
They don't need to know that.
I just want to keep it real, you know what I mean?
Okay. All right.
Before we start, I want to say thank you to Solomon and Jose for working on the cameras, and to the PA, to the temporary PA, Sean. Do you want to say anything, Sean? Look right here.
No.
Okay, great. All right, so how are you feeling, Zabo?
I feel really great this morning. I'm energized. I really enjoy doing this podcast, and so I look forward to today. How about you? How you feeling?
Well, before, I already went on this rant, but like I wasn't feeling so great because yesterday I went to go see a movie and didn't like it. So now I have like $40 off of my bank account and I low-key need it. So, but after coming here and like setting up and stuff, it put me back in the mood. Like, yeah, for sure.
When you put out that money, you expect at least some kind of entertainment. And it sounds like you just didn't get it.
I went for entertainment and that just like did not happen. I'm scared to like say the name of the movie.
Well, I don't think we need to start with that negative energy around the movie.
You're right.
I think we can start with more positive things.
Yeah. Yeah. Well. Okay. So speaking of negative energy, just for a few seconds. Last week I had like a horrible week, and I won't get into the logistics because it was just like it had to do with like senior year and like college apps and stuff like that and other things that I can't say legally. But yeah, it just brought me back to this thing that I used to do where I put all the wins. Do you know what I'm talking about when I say wins? Like wins of the week? Yeah.
I know what a win is.
Explain it to the people.
I think that one thing that's really important in life is that you celebrate your small wins. So if you look at big wins could be like, oh, I got into college. But small wins could be like, I finished my homework. I got good feedback. I had a good interaction with a friend. I went out. I did something cool with somebody. So it's important, one, to separate small wins from big wins, but then also like to keep track of your wins because we forget so much. Your brain will just let go. Yeah,
so the way I was keeping up with my wins of the week, I used to put sticky notes of like what I did, like the win, in a jar. And then by the end of the week, I would look at it and see all the things that I'd done.
It's a good idea.
Yeah. Recently, have not been doing that, and I'm trying to get back to it. But also my mom, like out of nowhere, gave me this journal. It's called the Gratitude Journal. And I have not wrote in here, but maybe like giving prompts will be best for all of us in the room that feels like, you know, stuff is not going well their week.
I mean, the good thing about gratitude is we, in this technological world, live in our limbic system, which is basically fight or flight, and gratitude gets you out of it. It activates different parts of your cortexes, and that's why it feels so good.
Yeah.
Especially because we hold on to so many negative thoughts or ideas, that practicing gratitude actually has a neuroscience background of changing the parts of your brain you're using.
We needed that for sure. I feel like we should I feel like we need to purchase a brain or something, so when you say like limbic system, you could like point at it.
We could animate it.
I don't know how to animate. Whoever wants to animate, comment down below. You got it. Jaden, if you're watching this and you would love to animate, call me. Anyways, there are actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 prompts on this book. So first, you put like 3 things that you're grateful for. The second one is what would you make what would make today great, okay? And then the second one is daily affirmations. And then by like the evening, you have the 3 amazing things that happened today. You put 3 of those, and then how could I have made today better? So I think I'm definitely gonna have to start now since I brought it up. And then I'll just like after like I guess 5 weeks, I'll just come back and be like, how has it affected my weeks for the better? And yeah, this might like seem boring to others or like people that's watching this, but I feel like if you were to do this like every week, if you're dedicated to doing this or like the jar thing, it would definitely help you like look at the better things in life, because once again, life happens. There's always like stuff that's going to happen, especially when you get older. Like it's something's going to hit you in the face. So it's definitely great to like keep track of the good wins and the small wins.
Yeah, I like that. I think that's great.
I guess we could just go to our debate, the Gen X versus Gen Z.
Okay.
So for our first first episode that we did, we started debating on what did we say actually? I don't want to just make stuff up.
I think it was just the generational differences with technology.
Oh yeah, technology.
And
yep.
if Gen Z is actually that like the stereotypes that everybody has about them, or if older generations are just as bad, but we just blame younger generations. Like we were talking about how we'll always be like, oh, teenagers never get off their phones, but like people who are senior citizens never get off their phone.
Oh
right?
yeah.
And then you were talking about how like a lot of times like the generational difference between you and your mom with your phone.
It's crazy.
Sometimes you feel like she's on her phone more than you're on your phone.
Yeah, her screen time is definitely higher than mine. So sorry, Mom, I have to put you on blast. But like,
but she could be using it for work.
Yeah, but I won't go into the logistics once again. I'm not here to flame anyone. This is the All Feelings Considered podcast, and we're considering all feelings here. So, but yeah, so I did like small research. I'm not going to say I did research, but I did small, like a short snippet of research about your generation. And basically, you're Gen X, right?
I'm Gen X. I
Not
grew up
Gen
without
Y.
the internet. I went to college, and they gave us a class on how to send an email because email didn't exist.
Okay, yeah, you had a class for that. You got credit for that.
I did. It wasn't a graded class, but yeah.
Okay, but
like I grew up without a cell phone. I remember getting a cell phone and being like, "What is this?" So,
wait,
Gen X grew up without phones, without internet, without email.
Yeah.
Like I still remember in high school using a typewriter. I used a typewriter.
Wait,
and
so
then
how?
like if you had to if you had a typo, you had to like
go back
and fix it and like try and fix it.
Did y'all have like whiteout?
Yeah.
Okay, so y'all not that old. Anyways, sorry.
I think
Wait,
whiteout.
it wasn't.
Wait, hold on.
I didn't.
I think whiteout has been around as long as ink. Like I don't think whiteout is like.
That was on me. That made me look dumb. But no, my question was, a serious question was, how did it feel to transform from like no technology to like basically technology everywhere?
I think there was a slow transition for us though, because like we went from like phones that were just wired to the wall that you had to like talk on, and then like the phone that didn't have a cord came out, and you're like, oh, I can walk around my house now and talk on the phone. So that transition to the cell phone was then like, oh, okay. So I went from just being able to go as far as this cord goes to now I can move around.
You could just take it everywhere.
And then the cell phone was like, that felt like that was a smooth transition. What wasn't was, I remember when the very first SMS, now we call it text messaging.
Oh yeah, it is called that. What?
SMS messaging came out, but it was like you had 3 letters per number. So if you wanted to type something to someone, like, number 2 was ABCs. You would have to get really good at being like,
that's why they had
A, B, and then like they got to get to the E, so then you got to get like and
I used
type
to be
it.
so confused looking at that on the telephone. Like, why is there like ABC? I used to have a hard time like using that. I swear.
Yeah. So that was the first text messaging. Was you had to actually hit the number enough times. Yeah, you had to want to send that SMS message. That was a big transition. So then when Blackberries came out, and you could just hit letters, that was like the keyboard. But remember, we learned to type.
Right.
Because we used typewriters. So like in my high school, you had a typing class to see who could type fast, but you learned how to type.
Yo.
And so I feel like those transitions were pretty smooth. What was the biggest leap, I think, was really social media.
Yeah, for sure.
I think that was a big change.
Yeah. We definitely need to bring back the typewriters in the classroom. Unpopular opinion, but I think we really need it. I think I need it for sure.
Do you know how to type?
I know how to type, but like, I feel like I need to work for it.
But they don't do typing classes anymore, right?
We don't have typing classes anymore. I used to, in middle school, I used to have like, it wasn't necessarily typing classes, but we used to play this game called Nitro Type like all the time, and it used to be so competitive. So it would be, everyone was able to like, that's the only game we were able to play in class. So we had to like, Yeah, we just have to work for it. And then if you're like number one in the race, like you were just that guy, honestly.
Right.
Like you were.
But the other stereotype is that like Gen Z doesn't go outside, they don't play outside, blah 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 blah. But like nobody goes outside anymore.
Yeah.
It's not just Gen Z.
And I think it's harder for, well, I'm not even going to say it's harder for us, but like LA, like the infrastructure in LA just doesn't let you, want to go out and venture unless you're driving to a far place, which
you don't want to
requires
go to the park
traffic.
in your neighborhood?
Well, Echo Park's
nice.
The Echo Park is nice, but like, I don't really.
You got the track around the swans?
I'm not a park type of gal.
Okay.
I'm trying to get into hiking and stuff. I've been like kind of prepping for that a bit. So
how do you prep to hike? Why don't you just hike?
You just walk. You walk like short. How do I say this?
Have you hiked?
Yeah. Oh my God, no. The last time I hiked was at Solomon's birthday, and it was a 0.7 mile hike, and I was winded.
Where did y'all hike? Did you do the Culver City stairs?
No. We were like,
Malibu.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a fancy party.
Yeah, but it was like
in Malibu.
It wasn't glamping. We were camping. But like everybody else was glamping.
So you're preparing to hike. Let me learn more about preparing to hike.
Preparing to hike, really, for me, I don't really like follow something that's like on the websites or like YouTube or anything. Just work out and like walk long distances. That's the only thing for me.
Okay. You should try like walking to school.
From downtown.
Yeah.
From downtown to Westwood, California.
Yeah.
You were playing with me.
I think it could be a good experiment.
Well, don't you live? Where do you live?
I live in West Adams.
So would you walk from West Adams to Westwood, California?
I did it once.
How was that?
It was long. Yeah, it was long. It was long.
I mean,
but
you are
I found
dedicated.
like a direct route that kind of cut it down, but it was still long.
How long did it take you? Like not even an hour, like more than an hour, huh?
Probably just an hour, really.
So just imagine me further from you walking to Westwood.
Yeah, you were preparing to hike.
Nah, and I'm a girl. I can't say. I'm not gonna say I'm just a girl, but I'm like just a girl. Like,
That's fair. The other thing though is Gen X did grow up outside. We grew up outside.
Y'all
because
did.
we didn't have internet.
Y'all did.
And because we didn't have phones.
Yep.
And so like where I grew up, now Pennsylvania is different than LA. You actually, as a child, weren't allowed inside a house. You had to stay outside. So like.
What was they
so
doing?
even
What was
in
the
the
grown
snow,
folks
because
doing?
like I grew up in the snow.
In the snow.
You had 2 pair of snow clothes. And when your first pair of snow clothes got like super wet and was too much, you were allowed to come in for like a cup of hot chocolate, and then you had to change and go back outside. You could come in to sleep.
Wait, why?
That was just how people raised our generation. You're outside.
I mean,
they also never knew where we were. They never knew what we were doing. They had no way to track us.
Was there like, did you like that sort of freedom?
It was all I knew, so I don't know that like I didn't know another life.
Right.
I was never scared. We always had to come up with stuff. We got bored a lot because we just did the same things over and over and over and over. And then even when gaming systems came out, like, the first gaming system I had was Atari, which was just basically like, objects on a screen that moved. And then I think it was Nintendo.
That's
and
a crazy way to explain it. It doesn't sound fun at all.
Sega, Genesis, and then PlayStation, right? But even if you had gaming systems, you weren't allowed to play them. You were outside.
Okay.
Also, like, our parents just weren't around. So a lot of us just, like, had keys to our houses, and we'd just be alone in the house. And I was, like, a really scared child. I was convinced that there were ghosts in my house, or, like, people, or someone always trying to get me. I mean, I was young. I was a scared child.
I'm asking you, do you still believe in them?
I believe that there are energies in the world that we can't explain.
That we can't see.
Energies, not entities. There are energies.
Okay. I believe I believe in the energies, the entities. I believe in that as well.
But did you grow up outside?
Okay, right. I grew up in a single parent household, right? So, anytime I wasn't with my mom, I was with my grandma.
Okay.
And that was basically most of the time I was growing up, because she had to like work multiple jobs. She had to get that bread to, keep us together.
Eaten.
Yeah. So at my grandma's house, she still lives in the same area. It's literally like right next to the USC Village. But she lives in this apartment complex where she like knew everyone. The person across from us was like this old man that used to like be very like intimidating, but he would still like give us popsicles like every day, like during the summer. Then we will have like these other old people just like living, and everyone just loved me and my cousin, because my cousin used to be at my grandma's house all the time too, probably for the same reasons, I don't know. But so how am I gonna say this? Basically, my cousin and I will voluntarily go outside, but it was never outside of the apartment complex. Even when I was with, like, sometimes when I was with my auntie, well, my great auntie or something, my grandma's sister, I would do the same thing. I would just stay in the apartment complex. So we wanted to go outside. We were never like pushed outside. Yeah, I was never forced to go outside, especially when I started being with my mom like more and like around her more. She sheltered me a lot. Like she been through some things, so she doesn't want me to go through those same things. So
right.
I was only limited to like do certain things. Like even if I were to go outside of my own house, I was only able to stay on that same block, on that same street, and my cousin would be outside. Like I just remember, like I would ride a bike back and forth on the same street, like stuff like that, you know.
So then the other stereotype though is that because we grew up outside, we learned how to resolve conflict all the time, and that your generation doesn't know how to resolve conflict. Because we had to we didn't have parents around, we didn't have any of this other stuff, we had to navigate the world. And the stereotype, look, it's not my stereotype. The stereotype is that your generation doesn't know how to resolve conflict because everyone keeps doing everything for y'all.
Well, I can't really speak for everybody, because socioeconomic status is really it's different for everybody, especially because of that part. But resolving conflict, I know for sure, since I've been sheltered, I have a hard time resolving conflict. Like I always ask the people closest to me, like, hey, what should I do about this? I go to my mom about everything. I'm not gonna say almost everything, because she's gonna, when she sees it, she's gonna be like, what do you mean almost everything? I tell this lady everything.
Okay.
Everything.
Okay. And that is different. We didn't tell our parents anything. Yeah. We were like, nope, that's just going to get us in trouble. Nope, nope. So I think, but I also think your generation has to deal with more conflict. Like the conflicts I had to deal with were a couple friends, probably some friend zone situation, and grades. Your generation has phones, so you have access to every conflict in the world. You know about every school shooting, every war, everything. And we didn't have access to that because we didn't have 24-hour news.
So you did it. I was going to ask that. You didn't have that?
No.
Yeah, things has definitely changed. We do have to deal with a lot.
What's wild is if you think about how information spreads. So I graduated high school the same year as Kobe Bryant. I grew up 50 miles away from Kobe Bryant. And knew who Kobe was, but the Sports Illustrated came out, I believe, once a month. So the only real way to find out was either to watch the local news, or get Sports Illustrated once a month, and maybe see the article about him. So our girls basketball team went to states finals and was the same division as his boys team, and they played right after us. But if I grew up now, and was 50 miles from someone who was going to get drafted by the NBA at age 18,
everyone's
would
gonna know
every single movement.
Yeah, that, for me, I've had to double down on not really being on technology as much, or at least social media. I haven't had TikTok for probably 2 years now, because it's such a sensory overload type of thing. It's like babies watching CoComelon.
Sure.
All the time.
Yeah.
And I'm always gonna run with that, because CoComelon should not exist. But anyways, it's basically that. But
sure.
Just imagine you doom scrolling on your phone every day for 9 to 12 hours straight. And
even if you're not doom scrolling, there's not, I don't know.
You still have the notifications, all that sorts of stuff. Yeah.
But the world shifted, so now I won't get a book deal if I don't have a social media presence. Yeah. You don't get speaking engagements, all this other stuff, right? So I'm on it for that. But there are a lot of times where I see what's popular on social media, and I'm if this is what people want, I don't even want to be on this.
Right.
I don't even want to do this.
Other people might feel subjected to like do that as well, so they can get like a certain following or audience. Yeah, no.
So now I got to do the trend.
Yeah.
So, but that's interesting because you're saying that you ask your mom about everything. We didn't talk to our parents. We'd be like, I'm not going to say this to my parent. And then you're also saying that like, because of that, you feel like you don't resolve conflicts as well, but you don't know.
Yeah, I'm still. I mean, I feel like before I wasn't really great at it, but as I'm like getting older and like learning from like my mistakes and stuff like that. Like I feel like I'm becoming more aware of like what I need to solve on my own, especially if like I'm trying to go to college and dorm and go somewhere far. Like I need to learn certain things on my own.
And that's why we discuss concepts like that in wellness, where we're like, this is what conflict resolution is, this is what you can do. But like I shared in a wellness class yesterday, UCLA has 57 college counselors, and the number one reason students go to the counseling center is for conflict. It's not mental health disorders. It's just conflict.
Like roommates
they don't even
and
know what to
stuff,
do. So then to summarize, you are also saying that you feel like my generation is on our phones, that you're not to call it your mom, but people who are of your mom's age.
She's a millennial though. That's so
But she might have higher screen time than you have.
She definitely does. I have my average is still like 3 to 4 hours.
That's low.
But you don't believe it.
That's low. But my hope is that instead of just pushing stereotypes on different generations, we can have conversations and see like what's the comparative element, what's the piece of it. Like I know for me with my mom, I need to constantly convince her that people on the internet aren't real. But I also have to do the same thing with like children. So I'm like,
I feel like we definitely need to have like more conversations, like open conversations where we're not really judging people and letting people like speak their mind on certain things, especially with like technology and stuff. And
well, also if you think about it, like because we were always outside and we had no accountability, we got into like much more dangerous things. Like
for sure, yeah.
If you think about your generation, your generation is using less drugs, less alcohol, having less sex, lower teenage pregnancy.
I believe the less sex.
All of these things. My generation was like we were alone, so we just get alcohol, get drugs, do all these other things, and our parents never knew where we were.
I believe that. Well, okay, we're kind of running low on time, but I just want to say thank you for closing that. That was great. You know, you're like a natural at this. But I also wanted to add having these conversations with like Gen X, Gen Z, Gen Y, whatever.
There's those millennials, baby boomers.
Gen Y is millennials as well. But anyways, I feel like having these conversations, I think at the end of the day we all like would realize that not everyone knows the answers to like everything. You can learn from a Gen X person or a Gen Y person or a Gen Z person. Like it doesn't matter the age range. Like we're still learning about each other and how we should navigate certain things, especially like new technology.
Yeah, you got to be curious. Don't make judgments about people. I mean, I think that's one thing as a teacher is like you learn so much from students, just seeing what they think, what they feel, how they process the world.
And I learned so much from my teachers too. Yeah.
And that is why we need to consider all feelings. That's why all feelings considered is a real thing. Because,
don't leave me hanging.
Because as we are considering all feelings, we can only learn and grow.
Oh my God, that was so great. Wait, we're not closing it yet. Just want to say first, for the remainder of this season of the podcast, we would like for you guys to send in questions or topics or stories that you guys would want us to talk about in the episode. We're trying to make this a school-wide podcast where people will actually want to come in and talk for themselves or share their stories once again. And I will post a form, whether it's short or long, for you guys to fill that out. And yeah, if you want to be anonymous or not, that's also possible as well. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much, guys, for helping us with the cameras. Thank you, Sean, for being the best PA ever.
He's really good. He's
so good. He is so good. Really good. Okay, but thank you so much.
All right. All feelings considered is wrapped.
We're out. Episode 1. Thank you.